One of the things that I've often done, which I think I can honestly say is attributable to a lot of my success with my own business, is that anytime I start playing with a product, especially using a product for my own business, the next phase of my development with respect to the use of that product is always something along the lines of, or some version of, how can I make money with this? How can I turn this into a stream of revenue for my business? And Fundera, it lends itself perfectly to exactly this kind of an opportunity. They do have a partner program, which we're going to be taking a look at in this lesson. But in the bigger picture than just a partner program, what I want to encourage accountants and bookkeepers out there to do is consider developing a loan packaging service to go along with your other services. It's a perfect complement. And if, as I've underscored throughout the previous lessons on this course so far, you're going to consider looking into using a product like Fundera to help your clients line up financing so they can take advantage of opportunities when and if they arise, then I think you would want to consider developing an entire service around this. Like I said, something like a loan packaging service. Now, there's two ways that you can approach something like this, and as you're going to see in the lesson, I'm going to encourage you to go one way over the other. And I'll just tell you at a high level for now that your choices are as follows. You can simply charge your clients the way you would charge them for any other service, whether it's by the hour or based on some flat rate, and say, hey, I'll package the loan up for you and I'm going to charge you this much money. The other option is that by taking advantage of Fundera's partner program, you can actually go to the client and say, you know what, I'm going to package this loan for you and it's not going to cost you a dime. And you'll see in the lesson exactly what I mean by that and what that looks like. Come on, let's have a look. If you've been following along since the first lesson, I mean really following along since the first lesson, and thoroughly studied this material, then you'll be 100% on the same page with me throughout the remainder of this lesson. This, our final lesson on our Fundera course, at least for this course around. We talked about the importance and how beneficial it can be to line up financing before the time that you need it. We talked about all the reasons why that's true. That was lesson 1. We gave you a pretty thorough education on the small business loan world. That was lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, we showed you how to go about the application process using Fundera, and I'll be very surprised if anybody doesn't agree that it's a really simple process, especially, and what makes it especially powerful is how easy it is to apply for multiple loans at one time from one location. Now, if you're an accounting or bookkeeping professional, this next part should fall into place pretty logically. The accountant's revenue opportunity with Fundera, and essentially what it translates to is providing a loan packaging service for your clients. You're the number one trusted advisor. You're the person who's in the best position to actually work with the client to fill out the loan applications, right? And now that you know how to use Fundera, instead of filling out 6 loan applications with 6 different potential lenders, you know that you can now do it from one place and be exposed to lots of possible opportunities. So you have really the best possible chance of shopping around and getting the best rate that you can on this. Now, we looked at this analysis in terms of all the different loan types. And again, if you followed through, and especially if you took the copy of the template so that you could get an understanding of all the different loan options that are out there and which ones might be best for your client, and then ultimately fill out the information in Fundera's loan application process to get at which ones you might qualify for. And as I pointed out in the previous lesson, your best bet, I think, is to hit select all and even opt in for the ones where you'd have to pay a fee if they do get funded. Because again, it just gives you the best possible options and you're not committing to pay anything until or unless you actually get funded. If you don't choose that loan, you don't pay the fee. So now I want to look at another template. I want to look at the opportunity that you have as far as pricing your loan packaging service, right? Because you might be into value pricing already, or what I prefer to call power pricing, which has a little different kind of tone to it, if you will. But essentially, you might charge a flat rate to process loans for your client, or you might charge hourly, right? If you're still charging hourly, if you're doing that, and my friends at Fundera suggest that you charge no more than 3 hours at a maximum to process a loan. As you can see, it doesn't take that long, and especially once you get to the Fundera part. The time you might have to spend would be prior to compiling the information that you need, the copies of the bank statements to upload, and of course the financial information itself, which as the accountant or bookkeeper you have, I hope, regular access to or easy access to. So the point being, assuming you're charging $85 an hour for your bookkeeping services, at 3 hours, that comes to $255. As a package, you might want to charge the client $500 and say, $500 all in, I'll take care of the applications for you, and it doesn't matter how many loans I apply for. It's the same $500 whether I apply for 2 or 10. The problem is, though, that the client's going to pay you $500, and if for some reason they don't get approved for any, they just threw $500 away with you, and clearly if they're paying you the $500 to do this, they're in a position where they need money. Right? So here's my philosophy on this. Tell them you're not going to charge them a dime until or unless they get funded. And the way that you can make that work is using the Fundera Partner Program. So I had this up on screen originally, and if you go to fundera.com/partners, it takes about 30 seconds to become a partner. You just fill in your name and address and email and that information, and they'll vet you to make sure that you're not, somebody trying to pull any kind of scam or anything, and you'll get approved, and then you'll be able to click on this link that says refer customer, and then you can either send them an invite or use this link that, like I do in social media, right? So as soon as I got this set up, which like I said took 30 seconds, another 15 seconds later I tweeted it out there and let people know, hey, if you need funding, this is the place to do it. Now here's the thing, I'm a firm believer that of course you have to love the product first. I, again, after seeing this, hope that you'll agree that there's really no better way out there for a business to go seek financing. There's no other place that I know of where you can do what you can do here with Fundera, especially in terms of applying for loans with multiple lenders and multiple loan types in one shot, right? So it just makes sense. Talk about efficiency. So at the end of the day, rather than charge your client a fee or even an hourly rate, just say, look, I'm not going to charge you a dime. I want to help you get the financing, and then be upfront with them and say, if you do get funded, because I'm using a tool called Fundera, I have a relationship with them through which they'll compensate me 1% of the funded loan amount, and that's what you get paid. You get paid 1%. So if you get a loan funded for $100,000, your commission on that is $1,000. Pretty clear, pretty straightforward. So let's look at some of the math on this. The key to this is looking at your client list, and based on what you've learned so far in this course, you can look at their typical annual revenue base, and as you've seen previously in the course, based on roughly 8% of that on the low end, you can look at what potentially you could line up for your clients in terms of loan financing, and then use the model that I'm presenting you in this lesson to come up with an estimate of how much you could make through the partner program with Fundera based on 1% of any loans that fund. And that's how you can go to your clients and say, it's not going to cost you a dime. And basically, you're putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak, by saying if the loan doesn't fund for some reason, you're not going to get paid. I know where you're going to be concerned about that is, what if I spend all this time and I don't get paid for it? And as you're going to see in this lesson here, the whole point is that for all the ones that do fund and you do get paid for, it's going to more than compensate for any loans that you apply for that don't get funded. And here's what I would suggest you do. Again, another template, file, make a copy, make it your own. I would go out and list every single one of my clients. I would put in their rough annual revenues, because we talked about this earlier in the course. Based on that, at the lower end of the spectrum, you're likely to get approved for 8% of whatever the annual revenues are. And by doing this, and then everybody is at 1%, assuming the loan amount gets funded. So your total in this scenario, what I've got laid out for you here, if I had just these 4 clients with these revenue numbers, then I can process the loans for them through Fundera, and my fee would be $3,000. That's a lot better, I think, than the $255 or the $500, and the client's not going to get mad because it's not coming out of their pocket. Fundera is paying you as a way of saying thank you for sending them the business. So, and if you want, you can opt to pass that 1% back to the client, so that the client actually gets it back. But then again, if you're going to do that, presumably you're going to be charging for the service. So what's really better for the client? I don't know, maybe if the client's getting $1,600 back, that might be more than what you would charge them. But if they're only getting $200 back and you charge them $500, even $255, not so great for the client, really. So I'd rather just say to the client, look, it's not going to cost you a dime it's not going to cost you a dime even if you do get funded. The only difference is I don't get paid if you don't. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but there's a risk. I'm going to invest 3 hours, theoretically, and not get paid for it if the client never gets funded. And my response to you is going to be, who cares? Because if I start funding clients on a regular basis, the ones that do fund will more than make up for the ones that don't. And in the long run and in the big picture, I won't have a thing to worry about. So in this last schedule that I've laid out for you to go play with, you can take a look and see, what if I started making loan packaging part of my service that I offer to all of my clients, and even a service that I offer to somebody who's not a client but who needs funding? I can put a whole page up on my website and say, hey, even if you're not a bookkeeping or accounting client, but if you need funding for your small business, we can help you package the loan. Boom. Right? Now you have a whole new vertical in your business, another way to scale, another way to grow. So come over here and take a look and see, what could I do? Now, what I did was I created a model with some assumptions in place where I said, let's say the first quarter I'm doing this, I can do 1 a month. And let's say that increases by just 1 per quarter. Right? So in the second quarter that I'm doing this, I can do 2 loans a month. In the third quarter, 3 loans, and so on. Right? Well, and assuming the average amount funded was $300,000. Right, that's the average amount that I get funded for my clients in terms of loans. The projected earnings that I have starts out at, of course, the $3,000 a month. Remember, it's based on 1%, and then it doubles to 6 and goes to 9 and so on. You get the idea. I know that my audience here are accounting and bookkeeping professionals, so you can do the math. This is just a way because I know that you won't bother to do it yourself in all likelihood. So that's why I like to do these kinds of things and lay it out so that you can see it right in front of you in black and white. My friends, it's a no-brainer. It's an easy way. Everything that we're doing here at schoolofbookkeeping.com is, from my perspective, about showing you, the accountant or bookkeeping professional, how to scale your business and grow it in today's world. And that's where the power pricing comes in. This, to me, is power pricing because you know what? This is going to get me really excited to start packaging loans for clients. Whereas getting paid $255 based on an hourly fee of $85 at 3 hours, even $500, again, that could hurt the client potentially if they don't get funded. And it's not nearly as exciting to me as getting $3,000 on a $300,000 loan funding. So you decide what you think is better. But like I said, if I'm getting $3,000 a month and then $6,000, and I spend the time processing a couple loans that don't fund, I'm not going to be upset. Not when I'm getting paid an extra $6,000. Assuming you can hit these numbers, at the end of 12 months in the first year, you'll earn your business an extra $90,000 gross. That's not too shabby, if you ask me. My friends, I hope that you have learned a ton, and I hope that you've gotten really motivated to seriously consider adding this as a vertical in your business. But going back to the bigger picture, you can really help your clients because guaranteed your clients, especially the ones whose cash flow seems good and where things seem to be going well, they're not thinking about this. So now would be the perfect time to probably reach out to your clients. Maybe write an email, join the Fundera Partner Program, and say to your clients, hey, this is going to seem like a curveball, because I know things are going well for you and your business, and I'm so glad to be able to say that to you. But I think now is the time to consider lining up financing just in case an opportunity comes across your desk that you otherwise may not have the cash available to take advantage of the opportunity to invest in whatever that opportunity might be. And I can go on and paint any number of scenarios, but I think you get the point. What I would strongly urge you to do is go out, list your clients, look at what the potential is, and then go out and start offering something really helpful and useful to your clients in terms of making sure that they have the financing they need when they do need it. Now, granted, if you have clients who are already in a place where they do need the financing, then again, this is still a no-brainer, right? So either way, I think it's worthwhile to go through your client list. Take time out this Friday. Fridays are good days for me to do this kind of stuff, I've always found, because they're kind of slower days for me, right? I don't think my clients really want to hear from me on a Friday because they're thinking about the weekend. Some of them maybe do. But the point I'm getting at is that's a good day to block out an hour or two of time. Go into your own accounting file, your billing system, whatever you're using, and start listing your clients. Put them into this schedule. See what their average annual revenues look like they are. And based on that, look at the potential. of what you have to earn if you get a loan funded for every single one of those clients, and then start prioritizing them. Who can really use this right now? And what I would do is I would send an email out to every client and explain to them that you've stumbled on this amazing tool and that now's the time to look for financing before you feel you need it, for all the reasons we mentioned in lesson 1, right? Likely their credit's better than it will be if and when the time comes, which we hope it doesn't, that they need the financing, right? And it's all in all just less stressful. I mean, all the obvious reasons. And the way you can frame it to them is, getting financing is sort of like having a parachute. Oftentimes, if you don't have it by the time you need it, it's too late. Right? So that might be a good sort of headline. You can steal that. You can plagiarize me on that, on the subject of the email that goes out to your clients. And start educating your clients about what you've just learned about with regards to small business loans and how they might be able to take advantage of them to help grow their business. That's what it's about at the end of the day. You're the most trusted advisor. It's up to you to try and help them source all the tools that are out there to figure out what they need to have available to them and have it available before they need it so that they can take advantage of any opportunities that come their way that translate to how they can grow and scale their businesses. And by doing this, by adding this as another service that you can offer in your own, you've just incorporated something by way of looking to grow and scale your own practice. As always, my friends, I hope you've learned some things here. I hope you've had some fun along the way. I can't wait to see you on the web. I look forward to it. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you on the web and find out how it's going for you now that you're offering Fundera as the tool to use in your loan packaging service, which you're now going to offer to every single one of your clients. Have a great day. So now you have it. We took a look at when is the right time to line up financing. We took a look at almost everything you need to know about loans and small business financing. We looked at the application process with Fundera, and then we took a look at where the revenue opportunities are for you in terms of being an accountant or bookkeeper who can provide a loan packaging service to your clients. Whether you use it just for the one-off client here and there who needs financing, or you decide to make a whole loan packaging vertical for your business, I hope, as always, that you've learned a ton along the way and also had some fun.